So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, thou shalt hear the word of my mouth, and warn them from me.
Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Middle Tennessee and examining current events from a biblical perspective, this is Bible News Radio with your hosts, Randall and Stacy Harp.
Hello, people. All right, hey, I'm trying to get logged in, so I can't see you yet, but I know that you're there. Yeah, I do. So, hold on just a second. Do me a favor, share this out if you don't mind. Whatever platform you're on, if you're on Facebook, you're on Periscope, you're on YouTube. There we go. Got it connected. Yeah, we did. All right, wait. Oh, okay. Hopefully Periscope will work all show today. So we'll see. I want to thank you all for coming in. Those of you who are watching on the replay on any of the platforms, here I'm sharing it out here. You guys, you know, just so you know, everything matters. Even replayers. Actually, you know what? To be honest, most of the stuff I watch is actually replay stuff because I'm usually doing a whole bunch of other stuff. Just so you know. Yeah. Alright, so a couple of days ago, I shared with you a couple of things. Actually, I'm going to turn down my mic. Okay, I see Liz came in. So a couple of days ago, I shared with you that I was going to share with you something today that I have been in the works with. Plus, I also said on a previous show this week that I talked to a couple that had been married for 64 years. They're actually still married. Both of them are still living. So they're both like in their 80s, early 90s. And I told you that I was going to tell you what the lady said to me. Yeah. The secret to a long marriage. What the real secret to marriage is. I'll tell you that in a little bit. But as always, I want to thank all of you for coming in. And of course, I want to thank Bareface for producing this show as wonderfully as he does. He deals with me constantly. So can you imagine the pain, the agony that he has sitting across the table from me? Well, no, we're not defeatist.
Well, that's what I think of when I think of those words. It's, you know, it's wide ABCs, wide world of sports. You know.
Thank you.
Pain, the agony, the defeat. Anyway.
All right, you guys. Okay, so
I think that was a line like in the 70s when they used to do that. Anyway.
I need to go over to Bible News Radio on Facebook.
All right.
Because I know that some of you were having some issues yesterday on Periscope, because Periscope has been really acting up a lot. But I do want to acknowledge people on Facebook if you're there. When you come in, two people liked it already. But I don't know who you are unless you say something. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share this out here. I literally just got home, like, I don't know, 20 minutes ago, you guys, because late last night, I got a phone call. Yeah, I did. It was a phone call from my dentist. She was calling me, let me know that my dad's choppers were finished finally. 6 visits to the dentist to get 1 set of dentures complete. Yeah. And anyway, long story short, I know you guys love this, right? You love my life, don't you? You just love hearing the stories that I have. Well, so anyway, long story short, I went to the dentist today to get my dad his teeth. I never thought I would hear myself saying that, actually. But here's the thing. Everything with my dad is like in slow motion. Yeah, it is. Super slow. Things, it's like molasses. It's like honey that's stuck inside the jar and you're like trying to get it out. So anyway, I got to his place and And he was walking to his room. Now, you got to understand, it takes him probably about 10 minutes at least to walk from the front of the building to where his room is. So I'm like, Dad, turn around so you don't have to walk the whole way. And he didn't hear me because he's old. He's got hearing issues. Anyway, so I walked really fast. And I got caught up to him, went into his room, and I'm like, hey, Dad, you know what? We got to go to the dentist and get your teeth. He's like, okay. I go, but do you need to go to the bathroom first? And he's like, yeah, I do. I'm like, okay. So, he's got to change. And so I knew that was going to take 20 minutes at least. It did. I was only 20 minutes late for our appointment. But the good news is that the dentist rocked it with my dad's teeth. She put his teeth in his face. They sucked up really good at the top. The suction was perfect. My dad had the most perfect smile. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Because you can't stop me. I'm going to show you a picture of my dad with his new teeth. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. I don't know if you'll be able to see it because I can't see it yet.
It looks all right.
Can you see it?
A little bit blurred, but yeah.
Should I pull it back? All right. So there's my dad with his new teeth. Yeah. There he is, people. And you know what? He will be 90 next month. 90 years old. He was so proud. Yeah, he was. See, and here's a different one. There's the thing with, I know you guys love this, don't you? Yeah, this is Dad Chronicles on Bible News Radio. Okay, anyway. So that's what I did. So, and then of course, right after we got back, they were having an ice cream social. So I had to have an ice cream sandwich. Don't judge. I didn't eat lunch because I was trying to go get my dad to bring, ice cream sandwiches. I literally have not had an ice cream sandwich, honestly, I can't even remember how long. I mean, seriously, I think probably before Randall and me got married. I mean, that's been 26 years almost. So, yeah. So there you go. That was my beginning. So let me say hi to some of you guys. I can see you coming in. So Stephen is here. Hey, thanks for coming in, Stephen. Thanks for being on Bullhorn with me. I think that's cool that you are. Marty, thank you for coming in. Appreciate you a lot. I think you're on Bullhorn too, right? Mia, our Life Flight paramedic hero, you're here. Thank you for coming in. Liz, thank you for coming in. Aardvark, yes, Aardvark did go through my mind. I don't know why. Sorry. My bad. But thank you for coming in. You still come in, even though I mention Aardvarks every time I say your name. Dottie is here. Thank you for coming in, Dottie. Glad that you're here. Hope you're having a good day. Actually, hope you're enjoying the books that we sent you not too long ago. And Levity Between Us, thank you for inviting followers. Oh, that was you. That's Oddbar, right? Okay. Thanks for saying my dad's good looking. He's actually not bad looking when he's cleaned up. Especially for 90 almost. Almost 90 years old. All right. Did I miss anybody? All right. I'm not sure. If you're on Facebook, I don't know it unless you say something, but I know somebody's there. So thank you for whoever you are coming in. I hope that this show helps you in some way. You're going to be seeing in the future Bible News Radio. We're really going to begin to put an emphasis on the Bible more and also news. I've been doing this program for 14 years, not as Bible News Radio, but just in general doing this. And I've done a lot of interviews over those years, easily a couple thousand, and I'm not exaggerating. And Randall and I were talking about it this morning. And the number one reason I have heard, and it could be that it's changed, but it hasn't to my knowledge. The number one reason people tell me they tuned into this show is because they appreciate that we're direct and honest about what's really going on, and we're not afraid to talk about it, right? I mean, we talk about the hard stuff, and I'm going to tell you something. There are a lot of Christians today that don't want to talk about the hard stuff. They're 2 Timothy 3 Christians. And if you know what 2 Timothy chapter 3 says, well, That's the type of believers they are. They're the creepers. They crept in unnoticed, but they're actually there, right? And so, you have my commitment here, number one, that I'm not going to back down on the social issues of the day, because here's the thing. Social issues are biblical issues. In fact, every issue is a biblical issue. I don't care who you are, what your belief is. It's biblical, whatever the issue is. It's just people don't like to frame it that way because they really don't like the Bible, right? And the Bible is, as L.A. Marzulli says, the guidebook to the supernatural. Has some interesting stuff in it, like we talked about yesterday with Ryan Pitterson and, his book, The Judgment of the Nephilim, right? So I just want to encourage you and let you know that, we're going to be here. We're going to be firm. We're going to stand firm. We're not going to back down. I haven't backed down. In fact, my whole life, I've been a defender of truth, justice, pretty much, and the American way, people. Yeah. Sorry to all you guys in different countries. If I was Canadian, it would be the Canadian way. If I was English, it would be the English way. If I was Swedish, I would be a defender probably of Sweden. But because God saw fit to put me in America, I am a defender of America. And I still think, believe it or not, that America, despite the immorality and ungodliness in our world, I still think this country has given us an opportunity to share the gospel. And I think we have a little window that's open, and we need to take advantage of it, people. Yeah, we do. We need to take advantage of it, because if we don't, who's gonna share the gospel with other people, right? I mean, when was the last time somebody actually shared the gospel with you? And I'm not talking like you logged on to Periscope or Facebook, but you actually were somewhere, and somebody was like, "Hey, can I share the good news with you? What's the good news?" It's been a long time since somebody shared the gospel with me. But, usually I'm walking around with Bible News Radio on my shirt, so they generally don't think that I need it. But, sometimes I do. And I have to tell you, and I will address this, and then we'll get into some other stuff. 2 people this week, well-known public figures, committed suicide that we know of, right? I mean, Vicky shared, did a whole scope a couple of nights ago on suicide, and, one person was 55. That's like 5 years older than me. That's not old, people. The other guy, the one that's been in the news today, 61. That's like young. I mean, Bareface is on his way to 61 like that. He's going to be there. I'm following right behind,
just a little sooner than you.
Yeah. Anyway, but the question is why? Why are these people committing suicide? If the whole world is saying, get rich, get famous, do this, make a ton of money, blah, blah. Why are these people actually killing themselves? And both by hanging, by the way. I read that and I was like, what the? I mean, first of all, it's highly unusual for a man to kill himself by hanging. Usually men kill themselves with guns. They usually, or they'll jump in front of a train or something. They don't kill themselves by hanging usually. Usually it's by a gun, because men typically are more violent in the way that they kill themselves. Women, when they kill themselves, typically overdose. That's usually what women do. So, so we have a mission field, you guys. I mean, look, these people were in the media world, and there are a lot of Christians in the media world. Candace Cameron Bure, she's in the media world. Kirk Cameron, I follow Candace on Instagram. She played DJ Tanner on Full House, and I guess now Fuller House. But she updates her Instagram all the time. If you're not following Candace, I would encourage you to, just to see how somebody who is living their Christian faith in that real, cesspool of Hollywood, is doing it. Roma Downey is too. I know some of you have issues with her, but she's living for the Lord. And I have to say that, there are people in all fields that need hope. They need hope. They need hope. And look, I'm not condemning anybody who's committed suicide. But, as a mental health professional, it's breaks my heart to see such, prominent devastation. It really does. And not only that, but I understand the feelings. You know, I have been completely transparent with my audience for many years about my own struggle with anxiety and depression. You know, I was hospitalized 3 weeks right after Randall and I got married. That's what marriage will do to you people. No, I'm just kidding. But I was. I actually put myself in a Christian hospital therapy program to deal with the assaults and the abuse that I went through. They put me on medication that frankly didn't help, created more depression in my life. I was in therapy for 15 years trying to work through that trauma and the subsequent issues of depression and anxiety that came with it. So I'm no stranger to the understanding or the experience of despair, right? But here's the thing, you know, just like earlier this week I did an interview with Barbara Roos, Barb Roos. That hasn't aired yet. That will be airing on her channel, on her show on August 15th, which happens to be my anniversary. She actually listened to the interview that I did with Vicky about a year ago. And at the end of that interview, one of the things that I said, and I've said this before here, but I want to repeat it, is are you focused on your crisis or are you focused on your Christ if you're a Christian? One of the things that has always bothered me personally is, you know, that we have a tendency as believers to share our testimony. And in the testimony, what we testify to is all of the crap that we did. Or, let's say it this way, all the crap that happened to us, as in my case. I mean, I never, you know, I didn't sleep around. I didn't do drugs. I didn't do alcohol. I mean, I didn't do all the stuff that people say. I was actually a good kid, right? My crime was becoming a Christian in my mom's eyes. But a lot of times people who come to Christ radically, they'll share all of that stuff that took place, right? And then they'll go, and then Jesus saved me. I got saved. And then that's it. And I'm like, okay, this is not inspiring to me. Just so you know, it's not completely inspiring. I want to know what God did for you. You know, how did your life change? You know, if Christians are supposed to be different, then we're supposed to be talking about why we're different and how he made us different, you know? And so are you focusing on your Christ or your crisis? Well, the world has no hope, okay? We see this in the news. It's pretty clear, right? And these are just 2 people we know that killed themselves this week. God only knows, and I mean that literally, who the other ones were, because suicide has gone up rampantly in the last 20, 30 years. It's huge, right? They need hope. They don't have it. And our culture, which is largely devised by Satan, okay? Satan is Lord of the airwaves, and don't ever think that isn't true. It might sound stupid, but it's in the Bible. And I will say this, that when you look at TV shows like Lucifer, I mean, they're literally named after him, okay? I mean, it's like, gee, 30 years ago, you would have never seen a TV show named Lucifer, okay? Just saying. But he's like, hey, here I am, you know? Anyway, when you're filling your mind with that stuff, you are not going to have any hope. Bottom line, you're not gonna. But if you fill your mind with God's word, you will have hope. People often say to me, well, how did you get better? What I say to them is it took a lot of work. You know, first of all, you got to want to get to better. You got to want to get better. That's the first thing. You know, with any addiction of any type, you got to admit you have an issue, and then you got to want to get better. You got to want to do the work, right? I mean, it's not easy. Being human is not easy. It's easier than being an animal because, you know, just saying, I am human. But you got to do the work, right? You got to take courage. You got to trust God. You got to believe him at his word. You know, God's word is the only thing that will never lie to you. Ever. Because God can't lie. But we lie to ourselves. people lie to us, and let's be honest, we all lie to other people, okay? Maybe not, blatant lies, but, there is some untruth in probably all of our lives, if we're honest. That's an irony statement, isn't it? There's untruth in your life, if we're all honest. Yeah, there is. Well, it's true. It is. I mean, it's true. So here's the thing. How did I get better? I wanted to get better. I got a good support system. I got people around me. In fact, it was the number one thing my therapist taught me when I got into therapy was get a support system. Build a community of people around you. These people that killed themselves, it's a tragedy to me that they didn't feel like they could call on anybody. Robin Williams, when he committed suicide, I mean, that's the guy that had a gift of, making people laugh, and yet he died in such a tragic way. It really does break my heart, too, still. I mean, to me, that's one of the most tragic deaths of my lifetime, Robin Williams dying. Because who didn't love him in Mrs. Doubtfire, I totally loved him in that, especially when the breast caught on fire. That was like the best scene ever. So the thing is, I decided to begin to believe God at his word and say, when his word says to set your mind on these things, whatever is true, just, lovely, when his word says to be thankful and to be grateful and to pray without ceasing, when his word says these things, he tells us what to do, when his word says to do it, as, Nike says, just do it, just do it. Scooter Michael just said on Facebook, Robin was murdered. Well, if he was murdered, then that's completely tragic too then, because, I haven't seen that, but nothing would surprise me, to be honest with you. And then Steven said over here, Lucifer based on comic book series The Sandman. Okay. So you guys know pop culture a little bit better than I do. Let's see if there's anyone. Okay, there's no more comments here. My point is that, look, Jesus is the way. He loves you. He loves me. And he can take anybody from a pit of despair and change their life around. And you know what? The number one cure for depression is look outside yourself. Go for a walk. That helps. That's the number one cure, actually. But also look outside yourself and help somebody. And I'm going to be sharing with you a video in a few minutes, but I want to bring Bareface on and just let him weigh in and all that, because I don't want to, spend the whole show talking about this, but I think it's important to address it. We have the answer, and we need to be sharing the answer.
Yeah, I have to confess the conspiracy theorist in me. When I saw that Anthony Bourdain was found dead and apparent suicide, that, I thought, what did he and, Kate Spade, what did they know, that they got knocked off. But
has InfoWars made something about that?
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me.
I haven't had the opportunity to look because I've been kind of busy doing a couple other things.
I didn't bother to look.
I'm going to go look right now. Maybe InfoWars knows something we don't.
All right, but certainly, in all these cases, it certainly doesn't indicate that, wealth is the way to happiness and fulfillment. As Yeshua, Jesus himself said.
Yeah, I like Alex Jones, just so you know. I do like him. What
shall profit a man to gain the whole world but loses his soul? All the stuff, everything material can go. I mean, that can all be lost in an instant. I mean, talk to people in, Nicaragua, in a volcano where people, tsunami, tornado, fill in the blank, all that stuff can be lost in an instant. And if all we have is us, we can even lose our health. Our outward body, this fleshly tent that we live in, we can even lose that and parts of it. And,
Hey, Bill.
and so, you got to think about, what's really important, what's lasting, and more important, everlasting, what is eternal. And then think about those things while I sneeze. Maybe.
You know what? The very first thing that happened to me today after I woke up, my cat, Gideon, walked up on top. I was in bed, laying there, minding my own business. Gideon always likes to pounce on me first thing in the morning. So he walks up on me, sneezes on me. All his snot flies all over me. And I'm like,
Your face?
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm like,
That's special.
yeah, I know. It's special. So I'm wiping it off
Cat
my
snot.
face. I know. And then I wiped it. I'm like, ugh. And that was my morning bath. So anyway. All right. So I want to share with you. I met this woman. She's 60. They've been married 64 years. This couple at this assisted living where my dad lives. And he actually, so I was having lunch with him the other day and her. And I was like, hey, her name was Irene, I think. And so I was talking to her. I said, how long have you been married? She's 64 years. I said to her, I said, you got to tell me, what is the secret to your marriage? You know what she said?
No, I don't. I wasn't there.
I was. She said, well, hey, first of all, I want to say hi to Bill. See? Hey, Bill, I have my bookmarkers still. Yeah, I do. You guys sent them. I still got them right here. And I have a whole bunch of books that I use them in. But Jeff Rentz, yeah, I've actually looked at his stuff too. WorldNet Daily, I've had Joseph Arab on the show numerous times, just so you know, and Tex Mars. Do I know him? That name sounds familiar. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, so she said the secret to a long marriage is, how she put it, saying what you need, and then shutting up and listening. So there you go. And her husband's sitting right there, and I said, "Is that good?" She's like, "Yep."
Yep.
That was it.
Yep, what she said.
What she said.
Yep.
Yep. So there you go. All right.
There's a secret right there.
Well, not really. See, what you're doing right now is you're implying that if I'm happy, you're going to be happy.
Well, ultimately, yeah. Happy wife, happy life.
And it doesn't go the other way around? It doesn't go
I don't
happy
know.
husband, happy wife? Or happy husband, happy life?
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know.
You sure? Because it seems to me that there's a double standard there.
Maybe.
Yeah. Like the implication is that women are hard to live with. And
No, not at all. That's not the implication.
what is it then? Happy wife, happy life? I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, that,
Well,
but people say that. But
Right.
there's really some underlying nefarious meaning underneath
Nefarious?
it. Yeah,
What
there
is
is.
nefarious?
We know. Well,
It's just another derivative. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So. Anyway.
king and queen. There you go. There you go. Okay, well, I can publicly declare that Randall Pandle Bareface is the one human being in this world who has genuinely made me the happiest.
Oh,
I know, isn't that sweet?
that is sweet.
Yeah. So, not so sweet, though, because this morning he wanted me to give him a change for $20. I offered him $9, and he wouldn't give me the 20. Just saying. It's all I had.
All right.
That's okay. Bill says the implication is perhaps the man has to try to make his wife happy in order to make the whole life picture better. Sometimes men are out of touch. Yeah. Sometimes, sometimes they are. Just say it. You guys are out of touch, but hey, here's the truth. I love men. I actually do. I love men. I love men especially men who are godly. Because here's the thing, I can tell you, being a sexual abuse survivor, And having an absent father most of my life, you know, the imprint of manhood on my life wasn't like the best. It was, you know, oh, this is what all men are like. But you know what? All men aren't like that, you know. In fact, I'll tell you, I have had so many good men in my life that it's actually, you know, hard to, I mean, I look at the, you know, the ones that hurt me, and in comparison to the good men in my life, doesn't compare at all. In fact, the very first good man that literally just popped in my head, his name was Mr. Crosby, Crosby. And Mr. Crosby, he probably doesn't, he maybe he does, but I don't even know if he's still living. He was my 7th grade teacher. I forgot what class it was. I'm just sharing the story. This is a vulnerable story. I'm going to share a vulnerable story. He was my 7th grade teacher. I remember I was sitting there in class, and then all of a sudden, something didn't feel right on my body. And I looked down, and I was bleeding profusely from my girl parts, okay? My mom, as you all know, wasn't necessarily the best mom in the world. My mom had never told me about a period. Yeah, so imagine my horror when in 7th grade, your lovable host got her period in the only class I had with a man teacher. You know, true story, true, absolutely true story. And I remember just freaking out because I didn't know what the heck was going on. And this teacher, bless his heart, came up. He took his jacket that he was wearing, he put it around me and took me to the nurse's office, and they explained what was going on. There you go. That's a good man.
Indeed.
And here I am, almost 50. That had to happen when I was, I don't know, what? How old are you in 7th grade? 10 or something? I don't know.
Well, probably like 12 or 13, depending if it's like the beginning of the school year or the end.
Okay. So I was, yeah, and then I had Mr. Valenchik, who everybody went by, you know, he called himself Mr. V. And he was, you know, in the front of his classroom, he had on the board the word responsibility. You know, actually, Mr. Valenchik was my first male teacher, and then Mr. Crosby was my second. So those two men really impacted me in a good way, because, you know, I never forgot to be responsible, because responsibility was plastered in front of my face for all 5th grade. And then, of course, Mr. Crosby, being the gentleman that he was. And I swear, I look back on it now, I can still see him in my mind's eye. He had to be probably, I would say, conservatively mid-20s, young 30s. He wasn't that old, you know, but to me as a kid, he was probably super old at the time, but he really wasn't that old. So there's a lot of good men out there. It just seems that they don't get the press. Like Randall. Randall's a great guy, you know? I mean, Randall has spent more time with my dad, frankly, than my younger brother has. And my younger brother lives here in Tennessee. He hasn't gone out of his way or anything to spend time with my dad. Randall has taken my dad out to breakfast, dinner. He spends time with him doing other stuff, you know, and he doesn't have to, but he does, right? And you should see my dad. He's like, oh, Randall's so great. He's, you know, and he'll get choked up because he's so emotional about it. So,
I think he's choked up about a lot of things, though.
He got choked up about his teeth before I left.
Yeah, so.
So, anyway. All right. So.
Keeping things in perspective.
So, I want to show you this video. Okay? I'm going to explain the video. I'm going to show the video. You know, you guys know that Bible News Radio is listener supported, and we have a couple of sponsors. And, you know, we've been struggling, and, you know, I appreciate all of you who donate. I appreciate all you who come in all the time. It means more to me than you will ever know. Truly. Really. But we have been thinking about new ways to build a business and to supplement here for Bible News Radio. And so I have decided to become a member of Legal Shield. Some of you guys probably already know about it because Vicki has talked about it on her show a lot. I'm going to tell you why. I'll just tell you briefly why. There's actually a couple of reasons. The first reason is because, frankly, all the stuff I've been dealing with my dad. You know, elder abuse is rampant. And, you know, if we don't take time to protect ourselves and protect those that can't protect themselves, who's going to protect them, right? They're going to end up in the newspaper, you know, as we've already seen these stories. So that's one reason. Another reason is I just think it's wise. I think identity theft is massive. It's a huge problem. In fact, for the last couple of weeks, I've been tracking it in Google News. And the amount of identity theft that's out there, you guys, is astounding. I mean, I didn't even know that you could steal people's identity in all these different ways I've been finding out, which I don't want to spend the whole show talking about that, but I'm just going to tell you that it's huge. But even that, ultimately, isn't why I decided to do it. Because I'm a hard sell. I'm a really hard sell, actually. I did independent research outside of all the Legal Shield stuff because I didn't want to be swayed by their marketing. Okay? This is a true story. I'm telling you the absolute truth. I did. I Googled it. I looked at the pros and cons. I watched at least 6 hours of video, independent of Legal Shield video. And then I thought, okay, I'm willing now to look at their info. Because I'm a little bit of a hard head. And, you know, the funny thing is, after I actually looked at their information and actually looked at it and looked at what they offer, because I had it. I actually had the policy a couple of years ago when I was selling my dad's house. When I actually took the time to look at it, I was going, okay, now I get it. I get it. So here's the thing. I know that not everybody may be interested in this, but I'm going to be offering it. And so when I saw this video that Randall's going to play, this really was, for me, kind of like, okay, this video is about the guy who founded Legal Shield. So he died like 4 years ago. So this was his like end of life video in the news. But I want you to see his story. And then I just want to tell you where you can go to get information so you can get in touch with me if you're interested. I already talked to a couple of you. But I want you to watch this because this was a Christian man who lived a life very well. And God has used him to help a lot of people. And that's ultimately what we want to do. So go ahead, roll that bean footage.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us here on Horizon. Well, by most any measure, Harlan Stonecipher lived a charmed life. The creator of a multi-million-dollar company, Stonecipher saw the pinnacle of corporate success. Yet things are never as easy as they often appear. Stonecipher's family has known their share of heartache, yet through it all, kept a focus on helping others. For Harlan Stonecipher, early life was meager at best.
But the only running water that we ever had was when I ran and got it.
The son of a sharecropper, Stonecipher went to college and married his wife Shirley, finished school, and was ready to begin a new chapter until his life took another turn.
A lady turned off directly in front of me and we hit head on. I had automobile insurance on my car that replaced the car. I also had health insurance that covered me while I was in the hospital, but I wound up getting sued, even though she got the ticket. She made an improper left turn, but they still filed a lawsuit against me.
A devastating turn of events that wiped out Stonecipher's savings, yet inspired a business idea.
People every day had unexpected legal situations, not necessarily just automobile accidents, but all types of legal things that happened to them that they were not expecting. And that's what I saw out there, is such a large group of people, such a large market, not prepared financially, not prepared emotionally for legal problems.
And so Prepaid Legal was born, an international company where clients have access to a nationwide network of top-rated attorneys. A huge success for all involved.
When I met Mr. Stonecipher, I had just went broke, and I had to have someone to help me. I sat down with Mr. Stonecipher. He gave me an opportunity to be a winner and not to be a loser.
Today, more than 1.5 million members pay a monthly fee as a form of legal insurance, a multi-million-dollar business model that goes back to one simple rule.
Not to quit. I think that's what happens to so many people today and in the past, is that when the going really gets tough, they have a tendency to want to quit.
A life philosophy put to the test. In 2005, a plane carrying Stonecipher's son, daughter-in-law, and granddaughter fell out of the sky, instantly killing all three.
And just everything was going pretty well, and all of a sudden, that happened, and you can't visualize that. I can tell you that I got to the point of saying, I can't handle this one. I don't know how to get through it. And for days, that's the way we were. We just said, hey, this is one we can't handle. We've handled everything else, but we can't handle this. This is just too much for any one person.
Yet, despite such a tragic loss, the Stonecyphers healed their pain by focusing on how to heal the pain of others.
And somewhere along the way, we realized something that we had known all of our life and had done all of our life, that the best thing you can do to help yourself is to help somebody else.
And so began the plans for a children's memorial chapel, a gathering place for grieving parents needing to heal.
We began to realize that
Can you
greatest
bring up the ID Shield video after this?
That lose a child is that what's going to happen after we're gone? Are they going to be remembered?
We're going to play the ID Shield one after this, just so you guys know.
Was wiped out. I mean, our son, our daughter-in-law, and our little granddaughter, three of them, and that's it. I mean, that family's gone. It's just wiped off the face of the earth. And I found out that that's the thing that concerns most people that have lost a child, is that they are concerned about will they be remembered.
So Harlan and his wife turned to their pastor for guidance. The result? A new home for the Life Community Church and a chapel of remembrance.
It's being designed specifically to minister to families who have lost children. And they've said with a great magnanimous attitude, we want this chapel to be open to any family anywhere to be able to come and honor their children. Not just our kids, but for any family.
The Stonecyphers donated $5 million for the project. The building, the pastor says, while not yet completed, is already healing families.
And right over here, somewhere in this area, there was a couple that was writing the name of their daughter on the concrete. And come to find out that those people are dear friends of ours. Their daughter passed away about 5 years ago, and she was mid-30s. She died of cancer. And about that time, Shirley and Harlan Stonecipher walked in, and I said, let me introduce you. I introduced the couples. I told them that they had also lost a child, an adult child. And immediately, Shirley goes over to this lady, and she hugs her around the neck, and they embrace, and they start crying. Right here, right here. There was no building here yet. We were just dedicating it to God. And she said, I know the pain you're going through. I know what's happening in your life. And God had already started the process of healing people's hearts before we ever got the structure in place.
Now, in addition to the Memorial Chapel, Harlan Stonecipher was instrumental in the building of a new business school at East Central University that now bears his name. Now, in addition, the Stonecipher family awards scholarships each year in the name of their late granddaughter, Nikki. Now, Mr. Stonecipher passed away on November 10th, just months before the completion of what was to be his final gift to the town of Ada and the final chapter in a life well lived.
So there you have it. What happened to my mic? Hello? Am I back? Hello, microphone. Ouch, that hurt. Don't ever do that with your finger. It might hurt. Okay, anyway, sorry about interrupting that. So anyway, that's the guy that founded Legal Shield. It was called Prepaid Legal in the beginning. And in that video, which I'm not sure how old it is, I'm going to assume it's about 4 years old, they mentioned the members were, I think, 1.45 million. You know, that number has jumped to 4.1 million now. So there's like 4 million people who have this legal insurance. And that's really what it is. I was talking to Ryan Peterson last night about it because he's an attorney, actually. I don't know if you guys know that. I said so on the show, but anyway, I was telling him about it. He's like, oh, yeah, that would be the most awesome thing to get because what Harlan wanted to do was give people equal playing field. You know, in one video I saw him talk about, he actually talked about how, you know, at the bottom of the rung in America, you got the public defender, you know. But usually when people think about attorneys, they think about people that they can, you know, rich people, they have access to attorney. This gives everybody access. And there's 2 memberships. There's Legal Shield membership to get the Legal Shield, and then there's ID Shield. I recommend both. I have both, just so you know. But today I just want to introduce you to the ID Shield because identity theft, you would not believe, has, first of all, if you think it's all online, it's not. It's not all online. And there are other places out there that have the coverage, but not as much coverage. And for the great, I mean, it's only $9.95 a month. Can't beat that. I mean, it's $10 a month. And you get a whole lot of stuff for it. So I want Randall to play that video. And then we're going to give you the website to go to and then put in your name and your info. And then I'm going to get in touch with you and tell you more. But only do that if you really want to know more, okay? Because I'm not hard selling this at all because I don't need to. It sells itself, ultimately. But I do want you guys to be protected. And honestly, I wish I had done it sooner. Now that I know everything that I know, especially with my dad. So you got the video up? Okay. So this is like a 1 minute or 1.5 minute video. So this will tell you a little bit about ID Shield.
Every year, over 10 million people have their identity stolen. Take control of your identity with ID Shield. ID Shield
or not. It's
Oh, it's showing up. Oh,
yeah, it didn't show it the way I thought it would. The way that it showed the box on the screen.
One moment, please. Well, please stand by as we.
That was kind of lame.
Oh, don't worry, Randall can fix it. He's Superman. Yeah, he is. So you guys, what do you guys think in the comments over on Periscope about anything? While we're waiting for Bareface to figure out how to do this, because it's in the middle of the website, so it's kind of awkward to look at the actual thing. You know, there's been a gazillion data breaches out there. In fact, my stuff was data breached. I know Vicky's stuff was. Joel Comm has had his ID. He's constantly under attack. Poor Joel is. If you're online at any time, you should be, but not just online. You know that 53% of identity theft is offline. It's still the old-fashioned way, in paper, in case you didn't know that. Okay, let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. I thought he might be because the clicking stopped.
I wish I knew in advance how this was going to pan out, but anyway.
It's all right. Our audience doesn't care.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, okay, go for it.
Let's make sure that this is maximum volume here. Okay.
Every year, over 10 million people have their identity stolen. Take control of your identity with ID Shield. ID Shield monitors your personal information, such as your social security number, credit and debit card numbers, and social media accounts. We watch across the internet, including black market websites, government databases, and court records. We even provide child monitoring and monthly credit score tracking, which you can track right on the ID Shield mobile app. If any discrepancies with your identity are found, you'll receive an alert. If your identity's been stolen, a dedicated team of licensed private investigators are there at the touch of a button, 24/7 to restore your identity. ID Shield also provides a password manager so you can generate and store strong passwords to further shield yourself from identity theft. And ID Shield even has a $5 million service guarantee, which means if identity theft happens, we'll do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to restore your identity. Shield yourself and your family from identity theft and put a licensed private investigator in the palm of your hand with ID Shield.
So there you go. Excuse me. All right. So, how do you get in touch with me? You can get in touch with me a couple of ways. If you want to go to my Legal Shield website, then the URL for that is Stacey Harp, STACYHARP. That's my name. .wearelegalshield.com. You can go directly to that and put in your info there and say, hey, I want info on this. Or if you can't remember that directly, then just contact me directly and say, hey, I want some info about that, and I will be happy to send it to you directly. It's not that hard for me to do. So those of you who follow me on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, you can just send me a private message and let me know. You know what my goal is? My goal is to get as many people as possible to join me in this, because honestly, what's that old saying? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Well, in this case, if you've ever known anybody who has had their identity actually stolen and the headache that it is, my pastor and his wife actually recently just went through something with their bank that took place, and they were literally without access to money for almost a week. Okay, so I mean, just saying, if you've ever known anybody who's dealt with it at such a big level, it's a big headache. And with this particular service, not only do you get all the protection, but you get them to take care of it, and it's under $10 a month. And the other thing, and I was looking at this yesterday, the other thing is when you log into the system, you go ahead, you put in all your info that you want them to monitor. The password manager itself, now I know a lot of you guys are online all the time, you have a gazillion like things. The software for that it's included, right? I mean, you can go and spend more money for the password manager itself just separately and do that. So it's worth checking out. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So that's my wish and my command. It's not a command, it's a wish. Just check it out. All right. You guys know I would never lead you astray in any way. Trust me. So that is it. Okay. And of course, don't forget our other sponsor, Ariel Ministries. We have HaMashiach, the book, the workbook that's available this week. And of course, you can always get your discount, 20% off on anything on their store when you use the coupon code Bible News. What else was I going to tell you? I already mentioned Bullhorn earlier. So you guys already follow me on Bullhorn. But if you go over to our resources page, we'll probably put a link up to the Legal Shield over there too. That's probably a good idea, right, Randall?
Sure.
Yeah, that would make sense. Anyway, so go there. You can save on that. But then, of course, our pillars of the community. Those of you guys who donate to us once a month, thank you for that. We're going to be, resuming hopefully our monthly meetups as soon as we can. But thank you for all the support you guys give us. It just means a lot. Because this medium that we're doing is difficult in many ways to monetize. And so you helping us, with that is important. It's important to me. And it's because I'm thankful for it, actually. It gives me time to be with my dad. Because you know what? One thing that has really struck me the most in the last 4 years taking care of my dad is that he is in his final laps of life. I mean, I don't mean LAPSE, I mean LAPS. He's running his race. He's near the end, and I don't know when the end is going to be. So the more money that I can make to, and keep doing what we're doing, the less stress it is for me, to take care of my dad and not have to worry about, the rat race of burning the midnight oil at 5 different jobs. So anyway, so what do you think, Randall?
About
anything. I know you had a news story. Well, what do you think about I mean, you're the one that encouraged me to do the ID thing and Legal Shield. Randall is actually the one that encouraged me to do it. And that says a lot because he's Mr. like...
Well, you researched it quite a bit.
I did. I researched it a lot.
And so...
because there's certain people that like to sell you stuff, and I didn't want to be sold.
Right.
So I'm just saying. And I wasn't sold. I was not sold by them at all. I did my own research. That's what I'm saying.
Anyway, so we've got like 5 minutes left. But some of the interesting headlines I was looking at, a pastor mauled by a giant crocodile during a baptismal ceremony.
I heard that. So Bill says, my dad suffered from severe identity theft through a credit bureau early this winter. He's exhausted. Yeah, and that's exactly what we're trying to, to help, actually. So, the interesting thing, Bill, is with ID Shield, they give up to $5 million, which is what you just saw in the video. The other services that are out there, they only give up to $1 million, and they actually don't provide the private investigators to help out. They don't do anything. It's a headache. It is. So you're going to share the story about the... Oh,
I'm just going to read some of the headlines. Inverted crosses installed by Dark Mofo. Offends in Christian community. That's out of Tasmania. Wives of Jehovah's Witnesses imprisoned in Russia send letter to Putin advisor begging for an end to campaign of terror. And a forgotten religion gets a second chance in Brooklyn. And then swearing-in ceremonies with no Bible. I'm just going to, for lack of time, I'm going to take a look at this one, which is a forgotten religion gives a second chance in Brooklyn. Well, let's just kind of summing up. They're talking about this... I don't know how to pronounce this book called the OAHSPE. OAHSPE. I don't know, OSPE, I don't know. Written by some dentist in the late 19th century, which is a book that combines mythology and religion and fantasy and kind of sci-fi and all this thing. But there's this particular... congregation, the Cosmon Temple, that is reviving this religion based on this book. But here's the sad part. Let me swap this over for you here. Probably need a little more. The Cosmon Temple wasn't always like this. They once read from the standard King James Bible and called themselves Christians, but over the last 2 years, in a bid to revitalize dwindling membership, the small group underwent a dramatic makeover, adopting en masse a new and uncommon faith. The church's transformation is a local revival of a nearly forgotten American religion. It's also symbolic homecoming for that group's founder, a Manhattan dentist and would-be prophet who published what he said was a divinely inspired book titled the OASP Bible to local fascination in 1882. Produced by a man named John Ballou Newbrough, the book is a dizzying collage of myth and religion. It reads like sci-fi or fantasy at times, featuring a lost continent and what's said to be the first literary reference to an interstellar spaceship. With a brand of followers called Faithists, the New York prophet set off to form religious communes across the country, but his efforts sputtered in failure. While some contemporaneous 19th century groups like the Mormons grew to large religions, the Faithists faded away. So, this once Christian congregation, or called themselves Christian, in Brooklyn, because their dwindling membership, sought to revitalize things by adopting this nearly forgotten religion, based on this weird book written by a dentist in the late 19th century. And anyway, that's just, while that may be an extreme, I'm afraid that it's representative of Christendom in America. That is that, attendance is dwindling in our congregation. What do we need? Well, we need to come up with something new and exciting, and let's do this program, let's do that. And in this case, well, let's dig up this book and go to this whole different religion that talks about lost continents and spaceships and reads like a sci-fi or fantasy novel. It's like, sure, why not? I don't know. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, it just shows you. I mean, really, it just comes down to it just comes down to the end, It really comes down to the fact that we're in the end of times, in my opinion. Which I know they've been saying that for a couple thousand years, but it's true. I mean, it is true. It's more true now than it ever has been. All you gotta do is look at Israel. In fact, next week, rather, I'm supposed to have a guest coming on the show on Tuesday who lives in Israel. He's Jewish. He's a Messianic Jew. He's actually a believer in Christ, talking about some of the happenings over there in Israel. I hope the interview takes place, because the other one that I booked, they never showed up either. So I'm hoping on Tuesday to have somebody talk about that. And we'll just keep talking about it here on the show, because that's what we're going to do, people. Just so you know. Yeah. In fact, I want you guys to let me know, leave me a comment or email me or something. Let me know what are some of the topics you'd like us to cover, because we're going to do that. And, my goal is to serve you. That's my goal. True story. My goal is to serve you, to give you info you need, to encourage you in your faith. And, I have to tell you honestly, it was sad, but was prophesied that those things would happen. Yeah, I mean, it's 2 Timothy chapter 3, honestly. It really is. I've been in 2 Timothy 3 a lot lately, so next week on Bullhorn, we're going to be looking at 2 Timothy chapter 4, though. But, my goal is to help you in your faith, to build you up in your faith, to encourage you in your life, to give you a swift kick in the butt sometimes if I have to, because I have people kicking me in the butt occasionally. Hey, you! Keeping me in line, just so you know. And I guess for me, it's just I'm at a place in my life because, like I said, I'm running the last lap of my dad's life with him. Eternity is always on my mind. So always on my mind. So, So thank you guys for coming in today, being a part of our show. I know it wasn't kind of an upbeat, fun show like always on Friday, but I still think hopefully it encouraged you in some way. And I just saw somebody ask for prayer. So if you tweet me your prayer request at Bible News Radio, then I can get it and all that, because we're actually running late. So thank you guys for watching. Be bold, people. Yeah, be bold. Just stand up and go with God, because he loves you. And of course, Randall Pandle Bareface, as always, thank you for being my partner in life.
Sure.
And the pursuit of liberty, and for hugging me when I'm crying, and for loving on me when I'm and for rejoicing me. Oh, by the way, I gotta tell you guys, I won a pickleball paddle. Did I tell you that already? I can't remember. I actually won a pickleball paddle yesterday on Instagram. So that was a good thing that happened. But anyway, and I was going to say, and a pickleball player. I get to play pickleball tomorrow. I'm so excited, because I didn't get to play all this week except Tuesday night, and I was kind of tired Tuesday night. But anyway, have a good night, you guys. We'll see you Monday, unless Randall decides to come on Sunday, I guess. All right? All right. Talk to you later.